The U.S. Open happened this weekend. The question now is, did Bryson DeChambeau win or did Rory choke? Baseball proved to me this weekend it is the greatest sport ever invented, and yet it continues to try and ruin itself from within. And Trevor Lawrence signed a massive contract. Does that mean now somebody like Jared Goff is actually underpaid? That and more coming up on Sports Talk with Dad right now. Welcome back to another amazing episode of Sports Talk with Dad. As always, my name is Kyle, and I cannot call this Sports Talk with Dad without the man sitting next to me, a man who has decided to finally dress his age, my dad, Tim.
Hey, why would you do that? I just had a shirt on today.
Why are you dressed like that?
I just had a meeting today I had to go to, so I wear a shirt. I do own a few. I used to own like 30 suits. You know this.
Yeah, I own 4.
I own none anymore.
No. I remember when your suit jackets used to fit me.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
They don't fit me anymore. I can't even find a suit coat that fits me anymore. Like, I can't buy it off the rack.
No, you've got to be tailored.
Every single time. It's really annoying. Like, I'm happy I've been working out. I'm happy I put on, some mass. I look nice.
Are you through bragging about all this?
I just would once like to be able to actually buy a suit that fits without having to go and get it tailored.
I have to get every suit I bought tailored. You always do. No suit, nobody is off the rack. You either get a huge shoulder roll or something.
That's the biggest thing for me, is that shoulder roll in the back.
It's mine.
It drives me nuts. So you have to get it fixed. It is what it is. You do look nice today, but I just don't understand why you came down to the studio dressed like you're going to try and sell me home insurance.
I'm not going to do that. I just honestly was too lazy to change the shirt today.
Okay. We are rolling with a true professional here, guys. We are stepping up our game.
Yeah,
and if
right.
you need home insurance, he's here for you. We had an amazing weekend this weekend, though.
What a shot.
So much fun. But we went to a baseball game.
We did.
Got to see a hell of a game.
Yes.
It was awesome, and we're going to talk about that more later. But we also went golfing.
We did.
And I, for the first time in my life, broke 100.
Yeah, and you wouldn't have missed a couple tiny putts. You would have actually broke 90.
Shut up. I had a chance for 90.
Several.
My last putt, I was putting for par on the last hole. It would have been 5 pars in a row to end the day. And I missed by a little bit. I didn't miss by much, but the problem was the green was downhill. So I missed, and then it rolled all the way down. I ended up 3-putting for a 92.
I was happy with my putting.
You putted really well.
I hit a few good shots in the holes I played.
You did. You're still recovering.
Getting there.
Getting there.
Hate drunk drivers.
Yes.
But we won't go into that again.
We won't go into that again. But I definitely choked on my putts.
You did.
But there was somebody who choked on much bigger putts than I could ever dream of doing.
Bogeys on 16 and 18. Total length of the putts were maybe 3 foot each.
Yeah, of course we're talking about Rory McIlroy. The U.S. Open, as it always is on Father's Day weekend. Rory had another chance to win.
Should have won.
Really did.
And here's the thing. Everybody misses putts. I mean, I was telling you the story about Tony Jacklin having a little 6-inch or foot putt that lipped out against Jack Nicklaus. Jack won. Rory had 2 putts coming down the stretch. He was up. He wins the Open if he makes 2 3-foot putts.
Yeah.
And they just lipped out.
So Rory comes out. He doesn't talk to media afterwards, which I don't blame him. I mean, how many times is he going to answer questions about losing on the biggest stage in golf?
Right.
Because it's happened several times throughout his career. I bet you he has more second-place finishes than anybody else in history.
That's not true. Jack Nicklaus does 19 times. He finished second.
Really?
Yeah.
Why
In majors. In majors. Think about that. He won 18. He finished second 19 times.
That's you know where we went to college, right? The Ohio State University. That's the championship level we expect from Ohio State players. It's not surprising. It's
hate opening that can of worms. I don't blame him for walking out either.
I mean, a lot of people are giving him flack for this. I get it. I would have too.
He made a statement yesterday. We're recording on Tuesday. On Monday,
right?
Congratulating Bryson.
Yeah,
and he was very genuine about it. And he's going to take some time off and get ready for the Open, the British Open. Bryson, though, he had the fans on his side all week. He was into it.
He has become a true fan favorite. I find myself cheering for him because he and Brooks Koepka had a thing, right? And a lot of people took Brooks Koepka's side through that. And now that Brooks Koepka has really shown his true colors, people are all about Bryson DeChambeau right now.
Yeah. And Bryson made the hardest shot in golf, a 55, 60-yard bunker shot to the green, and he got it to within 4 feet.
As he said, it was the best shot of his life.
Yeah, it really was. But he came out, and he was complimentary to Rory, saying for him to miss that putt, I never would have wished it on anybody. It just happened. And he's right. It just happened.
It is what it is.
I think Rory lost it. I don't think Bryson won it.
I agree.
Except on the last shot. Bryson won it when he had to.
He did. But it never should have been in that position to begin with. Rory makes those 2 putts. It doesn't matter what he does out of the sand.
What it should have been was Bryson needing to hold that shot.
Correct. Because Bryson didn't have a good day.
He was hitting it left a lot.
He finished, 1 over?
Something like that,
day?
Yeah.
And it also goes to my live golf thing, by the way, because Bryson has 3 good days, and on that 4th day that he's not used to playing, he struggled. And he got lucky because Rory choked.
Yes. And that's, I remember when Greg Norman was in the Masters, and that was a true choke job. He choked for 18.
Yeah.
Rory didn't choke for 18. He was actually 2 up, I think, on 13 or 14. He just missed putts he will never miss again in his life.
How does he get past this now?
I don't.
Because it's in his head. Clearly it's in his head.
Yes, when you're coming down the stretch like that, that got in his head. Correct. And he was like, I'm here. I just have to make this.
Right.
And he lost his focus, which you can never do on a golf course.
The other ones he didn't lose. We talked about this on the show last year with the British Open, where... Is it Cameron Smith? Is that his name? Yeah. So Cameron Smith just won.
Yes, he did.
He just had a round for the ages and flat out won. Rory played the way he needed to play. He said, okay, I'm not going to lose this. Somebody's going to have to beat me. And somebody beat him. This is a different story altogether.
This is a gut punch from Rocky. It's going to take him. I'm glad he's taking some time off.
Yes. I'm glad he didn't answer media questions.
What would he say?
He even has that deal with Netflix, and he wouldn't even let the Netflix people.
And congratulations to a PGA official who actually stepped in and went, he doesn't need this now.
Correct. You're not following him. We're not doing this. Give him a minute.
Yeah.
And he just left. No fan engagement, no media. And again, I don't blame him for that.
Not in this case. And I think he's going to be back. I think he's got one of 2 ways to go. This is either going to crush him and he'll never be a factor in a major again.
Right. Or
he's going to go on a little run because he started going on a heater Sunday afternoon.
He does that every year, though.
I know, but he was there. It was in his hands. Make 2 putts, walk off, hoist the trophy.
Right.
He could win the British Open.
He could. I hope he does. I think the whole world is cheering for him to get past this. This is no different than what Phil Mickelson went through. For how many years? How many times did he lose? He had one in the bag, and then Payne Stewart came out of nowhere and beat him. It's just happened time and time and time again to hit for him. And then finally he broke through and won, 5 or 6?
Something like that. And Rory's got 4?
He's got 4. Yes, he's been stuck at 4.
Yeah, he hasn't gotten the Grand Slam yet. That's the Masters.
Yes.
He's got to win. I think he's got to win the British Open, and he may actually have a chance to win the Masters next year. He's got the game.
He does. He just needs to get out of his own head, and he knows this.
Better than anyone.
He knows what the problem is, but it's a different ballgame. So for anybody that was roasting him for not talking to the media, guys, put yourself in his shoes. Be in that position where you haven't won a major in a long time, because he started his career winning 4 majors and hasn't won one in 10 or 12 years. Maybe not that long.
No, it is. I think it's like 11 years.
Is it that long?
Yeah.
He hasn't won in that long. All the pressure's there. He's been there several times and just can't finish it. Imagine being in that situation, the pressure you are putting on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what this is. It's not the pressure from the outside that is messing with his head right now. In my opinion, I don't know Rory, this is my opinion. It is what he's doing to himself internally. And we all have those moments in our life. And for him to take a step away and to say, I just need a few weeks of not playing golf, hopefully he's going to a beach with a couple of cocktails and just relaxing and not thinking about golf for a little bit. And I hope he gets the rest he needs to come back and be the champion we all know he is.
I hope so. Golf, more than any other sport, any other game, is in your head.
Oh, golf is mainly in between the ears.
You've got so much time between shots thinking about what you're going to do, and then you've got to execute.
I mean, you see that in your own golf game. Again, I'm not comparing myself to anything. I am nowhere. Yeah. I'm not a good golfer by any means, but I normally hit 275, 300-yard drives.
And he's okay. And just so you know, he actually did hit 2 300-yard drives Saturday. I saw them.
Yes.
Now they were 270 and 30 yards a roll, but they still got.
They were not. Don't even start with me. They were legit drives.
Maybe they were 180 and 100.
Oh,
a lot of
whatever.
But
whatever.
No,
you hit 300 yards. I don't care if they roll or not. But I couldn't figure out my driver for the longest time just because I was thinking about it too much. As soon as I quit thinking and just swung the dang thing, all of a sudden I'm good to go. Now put yourself in the shoes where the whole world is watching you and the whole world is wondering if you can do it. No thanks. That's a different world, man.
There's nothing like the pressure of a major on a Sunday afternoon. Yeah. And he's risen to it, and I'm hoping he does it again. I like Rory.
It's always the last 3 holes.
For a guy to hit it as far as he is and be built as, he's not a big guy.
He's a monster with the driver, though.
Yes, he is. I mean, Bryson looks like he can hit the ball 14 miles.
Yeah.
And he does.
He does.
Rory is a skinny guy who just cranks it out there, and
he's got that pendulum swing. Just swings fast.
Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. I love watching him play. And
what's the word from the replacements of the kicker? He's wiry.
He's wiry, yes. That's exactly what. And he's Scottish too, so it's perfect. Perfect analogy. So let's move on to other big news that happened this week.
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence signs a $275 million contract with 142 of it, the first 3 years, fully guaranteed.
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
For a quarterback that has 1 playoff win.
He's averaging $55 million a year, which ties him with Joe Burrow as the highest paid quarterback in the league.
Yeah, he just reset the market.
He did.
Any other contract for quarterbacks now starts with a 6.
Okay, well, here's my question. Let's figure this out because we're both Packer fans, obviously. Right. So Brian Gutekunst, general manager for the Packers, in 2020 had the opportunity to sign Devontae Adams.
Yep.
And he didn't. He just didn't do it. They signed Rodgers to a huge deal instead, and then let Adams go to Vegas.
Raiders.
And then, said, well, we offered him the same deal. Well, if you would have offered it to him a summer before, you would have had him on the team to work with these young wide receivers.
Yep. Last
year, he cuts this weird deal. Instead of just signing Jordan Love to the 5th-year option, he pays him $22, $23, $24 million for last year. But this year is only his base would be like $11 million. Well, Jordan Love went in and outplayed that by a ton.
Right.
He would have been paid $25 million this year on his 5th-year option, and he would have been set. And you could have seen him play the entire year and then decided, do we pay him the $60 million?
Yep.
But now that Trevor Lawrence has signed this, did Goody, was he too smart by half on this?
I don't know. I don't know, because do you want to sign Jordan Love next year? I mean, that's seeing the Trevor Lawrence deal, right? Because other quarterbacks are going to be coming up for contracts soon as well.
Well, right now they're still waiting on Tua
Yep.
and Dak.
Right.
And in Love. Those are the three that are outstanding.
Correct. So if Love comes out next year and lights it up,
we're talking this coming season.
Now it's worth. Now you're paying him more money. I think if they did anything wrong here, is they waited for Trevor Lawrence to sign.
Yes.
Because Trevor Lawrence, I mean, you look at their statistics, right? One playoff win each. Trevor Lawrence has had a good year.
Up and down career.
And a bad year.
Yeah.
And then a decent year last year. Because rookie year for Trevor Lawrence doesn't count. Doesn't count.
Okay, fine. You can write him that excuse. I kind of do too, because of Urban Meyer and all the nightmares.
It was a mess.
It was.
You can't count anybody's career in that first year with Urban Meyer. That was an absolute mess.
But Jacksonville is making a huge bet on a guy who's had one good year.
A guy that's been the number one quarterback since he was in high school. I mean, this is a kid that everybody knew was going to be great. They're putting stuff around him. I mean, what is it, 4 or 5 years?
It's 5 years.
5 years? Okay.
Which
so
will be
5 years, you're out of it.
If he outplays it, they're going to renegotiate it anyways.
Correct. If he doesn't outplay it, you're in no worse position than you would have been in the first place. It takes a long time to build up a quarterback. You got to ride with him. I don't blame him for doing this. The question is did the Packers make a mistake by waiting for Trevor Lawrence to sign and not just offering him a contract like this to begin with?
Or could they have just said after Goff signed for 53, say, okay, we're going to pay you 54?
That's what I'm saying. They could have easily done that.
And they didn't.
And that's where they're too smart for their own good. Because everybody was playing that chicken game. Who was going to sign first, Jordan Love or Trevor Lawrence? Because if I'm the Packers, I just take this contract Trevor Lawrence just signed and copy it and paste it and say, here you go.
Yeah, but they can't do that now.
Sure they can. I don't know if he'll accept it.
I think, here's the thing. If they would have just signed him to the fifth-year option, at the end of last year, they could have went to him and said, here you go, $45 million a year. And he might, at the end of last year, if he was under contract for only 25 this year and he would have had to play at 25, he might have taken that at that point.
No, they wouldn't have.
He might have.
He would have just played on that fifth-year option or sat out to ask for this money anyway.
He wouldn't have sat out. He would have had to play on the fifth-year option because
you don't have to play on the fifth-year option.
He would have played. I don't think Love wants to sit out. He's not that. He hasn't impressed me as that kind of a guy.
Want to, but there's game and there's business. I mean, this is a business.
Well,
and you get paid when you can. You don't know what's going to happen next. You have to pay him now. Do you make him the highest paid quarterback in the league though at $56 million?
That's certainly what his people are going to be asking. And don't forget, they're Russ Ball and all of the capologists in each individual teams. They're experts at this. They play with the funny money and they make it look like he's making X dollars.
Well, here's the top 10 highest paid quarterbacks in the league, okay? Trevor Lawrence and Joe Burrow are both, and this is per year, are both at $55 million a year. Jared Goff at $53 million, Justin Herbert at $52.5, Lamar Jackson at $52, Jalen Hurts at $51, Kyler Murray at $46.1, Deshaun Watson at $46, Kirk Cousins at $45, and Patrick Mahomes at $45.
Okay, so Mahomes is way underpaid.
I mean, he signed a 10-year contract for $500 million.
He's going to be part of the family.
They're going to renegotiate.
They will get him taken care of.
I mean, this is going to be everybody knew when that contract was signed that it was going to be renegotiated, and it's getting to be about that time. Because once Jordan Love signs, Patrick Mahomes is no longer a top 10 paid quarterback.
Which boggles the mind, but
isn't going to be allowed. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is being paid less than Kirk Cousins, Deshaun Watson, Kyler Murray, and Jared Goff.
He must not be as good as those guys.
Yeah, maybe not.
Obviously, again, it's almost like I think I look at Kansas City and Green Bay in somewhat the same vein. Once you're a Chief, you're part of the family for life.
Yeah.
And Mahomes will be paid by the Chiefs probably for the rest of his life.
Oh, for sure.
Bart Starr was by the Packers.
Right.
They,
Brett Favre
they
was
just,
brought back in.
yeah,
Aaron Rodgers will be brought back in.
you just do that.
You get it taken care of. So what do you think he's going to sign for, though?
I think at this point it's going to be 56 or 57.
You remember
At this point,
do you remember what was it, 6 months ago when we were talking about this and I said Jordan Love's going to get paid $55 million a year?
yeah, and I didn't think there was any
And
prayer.
you said he was going to get paid $45 million a year?
No, I said 48 or 49.
Yeah.
I didn't think he'd get to the 50. Now, after what he did last year, and granted it was only 9 games, but they were some of the best 9 games of the entire season by any quarterback.
Yeah.
And at this point,
When do you think this gets done?
I think before training camp.
I do too. I think you have to.
I think the signing bonus will be in the 150 range.
See, and that's where I think they're trying to work things out. I think if the Packers are smart, they're trying to sign him for less a year, but have more guaranteed money.
Yeah, so the number, when he put it all in the aggregate, it'll look like he's making more than anybody else, but in reality, the bonuses and everything will offset it.
I think it'll be the opposite. I think they're going to work the cap and basically give most of it as a signing bonus because that doesn't count against the cap.
I would too.
At that point. And then it's going to be less money a year. I could see this turning out to be 55 or 54 and then a lot more signing bonus than Trevor Lawrence got.
And then it would be in the 220, 225 signing bonus.
Correct. I think it'll be about $180 million guaranteed in this contract.
Okay, I said 175. Make me a liar for $5 million.
I'm just guessing.
Yeah,
I'm not making you a liar.
We're all guessing
I'm
here.
guessing. I have no idea.
I think you could be absolutely right.
But if Trevor Lawrence got 142, you're going to go back and say, okay, copy, paste, but here's 180 million guaranteed instead of 142.
I think you go higher on the Jared Goff, even though people are going to argue Goff's had a longer career and a better track record.
Yeah. Goff was smart to sign when he did.
Sure.
But he is now underpaid. I mean, you look at the list of his quarterbacks. I mean, okay, Joe Burrow, he's still the highest paid, tied for it, and he can't stay healthy, and so that's part of it. Jared Goff is definitely underpaid. I would put him above Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
Justin Herbert, we haven't seen him win anything yet. Lamar Jackson, he's probably underpaid now. Jalen Hurts, I don't think is. Kyler Murray, I think he's paid too much. Deshaun Watson is paid way above what he's worth. Kirk Cousins is underpaid at this point, but then again, he negotiates fully guaranteed money.
He does.
So that's a different ballgame for him. And Patrick Mahomes is way underpaid all of a sudden.
I mean, okay, we're talking about all this, and I've already had people come up to me and go, this is ridiculous what they make. Yeah, how much does Tom Cruise make? How much did Harrison Ford make for some of this stuff? They get paid millions and billions of dollars. These are entertainers that can do something none of us can possibly do.
Well, and here's
worth
the other
every
thing, too.
penny they get.
Well, how much of that, of what they bring in, are they actually being paid? The NFL is a multi-billion dollar a year industry.
You can add several multis to that.
Correct. It's got to be close to $1 trillion a year industry at this point.
Worldwide, got to be close.
So you telling me that somebody getting paid $55 million a year when they are bringing in for their team over $1 billion to ownership and everything else, they are not being overpaid by any stretch of the imagination.
And there's a huge new TV contract coming. These numbers are just going to go up.
Correct.
We are going to be seeing $100 million a year quarterback in the next 5 years.
I don't know if it'll be that long. It'll be $70 million a year in the next 5 years. I don't know about $100 million a year.
If the TV ratings keep going up and the deals keep going up, it wouldn't shock me.
But honestly, when I hear people say that, my response always is, then stop watching.
Yeah, and nobody does.
You're the one that's bringing in this type of revenue because you're watching the game. You're buying the merchandise. So don't sit here and tell me that an owner that makes $1 billion a year plus is overpaying somebody at less than 1/10 of that.
Well,
I don't want to hear that stuff. Patrick Mahomes himself brings in $1 billion plus a year into the NFL
for jersey sales and everything else he does. Sure. But, and also, I mean, I remember not long ago, the big news was Brett Favre signed the first $100 million deal.
Yeah, that would have been in 99, 2000.
Was it that one or was it the contract in like 2005?
No, because he signed a 10-year contract right after Bledsoe did, or right before Bledsoe did, because Bledsoe also got a 10-year, $100 million plus contract, and people were freaking out then. But you can't just look at this at pure numbers. You have to look at this as, okay, what's being brought into the NFL and what's actually being paid out. These guys aren't being underpaid or overpaid, I mean, by any stretch of the imagination. What these guys bring in profit is way, way more, like hundreds of times more than they're being paid.
Look what the city of Green Bay is going to make next year for the draft.
It's going to be insane.
And what they make every year at the Super Bowl.
Look what Aaron Rodgers brought in, Brett Favre brought in, what Jordan Love is now bringing in. With the excitement he's bringing to the Packers, he is bringing in millions and millions of dollars in jersey sales. What the Packers make off of Jordan Love's jersey sales, Jordan Love will make less than that.
Always remember, when you have a guy like Jordan Love coming in and doing what he's doing,
Hall of Famer.
Not yet, but it makes the Packers relevant again. And you know who's cheering the most when the Packers are relevant? Everybody from Roger Goodell down at the New York offices. I love the line that they always say it. You know, when people complain the Packers are on TV, hey, with what they bring in, be glad they're not on every week at night.
Same with the Cowboys. Same with the Niners.
Same with the
Chiefs.
Chiefs.
With the Steelers. Yeah. Same with the Chiefs. Be happy that they make sure the Jaguars get some TV time.
Exactly.
Right?
I mean, there are just a few teams, and you can toss. I don't even know if you can toss in the New York teams right now that would do that.
Locally, they bring in because there's
they're huge.
9 million people in New York.
But to get the country to tune in, if it's the Packers,
correct.
If it's Dallas, if it's Kansas City, if it's Pittsburgh, Bears to a certain extent in the past more than it is now.
Right.
Those legacy teams still draw the audience.
They do.
The Raiders.
The Raiders definitely draw. You know, well, I don't know if they really do right now, though.
But if they just have to turn the corner a little bit, and I think they could.
I don't know if they will now that they're in Vegas.
They've got to address the quarterback situation.
When they were Oakland, yeah. I don't know now that they're in Vegas if it has the same draw.
It's all going to depend if they have, what do they call the area where all the crazies go and sit? I do not remember what they call that. In Cleveland, it's the dog pound.
I don't know. They're all insane in Oakland. They don't have that draw anymore. I watch Oakland games just for the fans. And they don't really have that anymore.
They've got to build it.
And it's going to be interesting to see, speaking of moving, it is going to be interesting to see if the Oakland A's, soon to be the Sacramento A's, soon to be the Las Vegas A's, if they have that same type of issue with drawing. Now, people didn't go to Oakland games to begin with because they've been a terrible, terrible team for a long time.
And they were in a terrible, terrible stadium.
Right. But if you would have put a good team on the field in Oakland for the A's, they would have sold out every single game.
Yeah, because they did back in the 80s and 90s when they had the great teams.
And so my question to you is, looking at the A's have moved, there's 3 other teams that are very likely to move. One team that's been talking about moving since the 70s.
Yes.
Another team that is in a terrible location and can't draw fans no matter how good they are. And another team that is in a dispute with their city about building a new stadium. And if they don't get it exactly where they want it, they're going to throw a fit. I'm, of course, talking about the White Sox, the Rays, and the Kansas City Royals.
Well, let's start with Kansas City. They're in Kauffman Stadium, which is 51 years old.
51 years old, but was just renovated.
I understand that.
In 2012.
Okay, fine. But it's still an older, not great stadium. They need a new ballpark. They've won a World Series not that long ago.
2015.
All right. 9 years. So they've got a great.
Haven't put up a team since.
They've got a great fan base, and a lot of that some of that has to do with the stadium and all the luxuries and different things they can bring in. If they don't get it worked out, they're not moving. They are not going to move out of Kansas City. They may move out of Kansas City, Missouri.
Correct.
But they'll move to Kansas City, Kansas.
Yes. For anybody that doesn't know, Kansas City's split, like right down the middle.
Right. And it's maybe 20 minutes from each other where they're going to probably build a new stadium. I think that's probably a 60-40 chance that that's what's going to happen.
The issue with Kansas City, the reason it got turned down, because they want to get another tax on there to pay for the stadium, which I think is a joke. You're a billionaire owner, build your own damn stadium, but that's a conversation for a different day. The issue is where they want to build it is a part of the city that they just revitalized. There's a lot of small businesses there. There's a lot of traffic that flows through there, and they want to interrupt all that, and they have no leases on the table to buy out these places, to tear down these buildings they want. And so Kansas City looked at it and said, no, one, we don't want you down there. You're going to take out a bunch of small businesses that built up this area. And two, you're going to destroy the traffic flow down there, and it's not a good spot. So no, you can't go here.
Yeah, and Kansas City, like in Milwaukee, is not downtown. It's actually
there's different areas.
More in the suburb, easier traffic flow to get there.
Correct.
I wouldn't have let them go downtown either. I mean, if they would have done this in 2015 before that revitalization in that area started,
sure,
fine, make it a part of the whole thing.
Right.
But everybody in Kansas City kind of likes the fact that baseball and football are right there together. That's going to end.
It is.
I mean, the Chiefs are going to get their stadium.
Arrowhead's not moving. Well, it's not their stadium. They just want to
whatever they're going to
renovate the stadium.
Arrowhead's going to be taken care of.
Yes. Yes, the referendum was turned down more because of the Royals than it was for the Chiefs.
So I think 60-40, they move to Kansas.
I think that 100% is going to happen. So you think Kansas City isn't leaving Kansas City?
No,
okay.
They're still going to be there. Got a great fan base. They draw from not only Kansas and Missouri, Nebraska. They're a regional team.
They are.
Not in the same way the Cardinals are, but they're still regional for that area. Then there's our friends from our old stomping grounds, Tampa Bay Rays.
Went to one game, refused to go to another.
I went to several games there. It's a dump.
Yeah.
It is not even a good AAA ballpark.
Their spring training facility is nicer than their home ballpark. I mean, you said it best. It's a dump.
It was built originally to get the White Sox to move down there.
Correct. Which is the team that since the 70s has been talking about.
George Steinbrenner got that thing pushed through with the owners. They were moving. Then all of a sudden, the state of Illinois comes up with all these last-minute deals and built a last generic-looking baseball stadium in America, and that was a disaster. But getting back to Tampa, the latest idea is that they're not only going to just build a stadium in this really not great area, they're also going to revitalize it with condos and shopping and do all that other thing. And the city fathers in St. Peter still looking at him going, yeah, we still don't really want you here.
Right. The issue is
what you got.
The issue with St. Petersburg is if you're going to St. Petersburg, you're going to the beach.
You're going to the beach. It's a beach community.
You're not going to a baseball game.
You're not going inside on a beautiful Sunday afternoon when you can go 2 miles down and go to the beach.
Right. It's not a place that you go. And anybody that doesn't know the area, so Tampa Bay is really 3 areas. You have Tampa, because it's not Tampa Bay. The city name is actually Tampa. You have St. Petersburg, and you have Clearwater area. That is Tampa Bay. It's built up of 3 cities. So that's why they get away with calling them the Tampa Bay Rays.
Right.
And that's why they're the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's for that whole area.
Plus that water is called Tampa Bay, obviously.
It is. And in St. Petersburg, it just doesn't work. Ray J works, Raymond James Stadium, because it's right next to the airport.
It's on the Tampa side.
It's on the Tampa side. To get from Tampa, where we lived on the north side, to get to St. Petersburg is an hour if there's no traffic.
And that never happens.
And they have a bridge that connects them from Tampa to St. Petersburg. And one, there's always traffic.
And 2, it can be an hour on that bridge alone.
Correct. It's like a 5-10 mile stretch,
Something like
and
that.
it can be an hour to get across there when there is traffic. And if it's high tide, 1, it's the most terrifying drive ever, and 2, it's a lot of traffic and it's slick, so odds are there's going to be an accident on that bridge, which is really going to slow things down. It's a mess. You can't get there. And so what that does, because St. Petersburg is its own little island, and so you're not getting any of the surrounding areas to come because they're not going downtown Tampa Bay and then over to St. Petersburg to watch a game.
You get Sarasota, which is another community south of St. Pete. They will come up for the games.
Sure.
But you want the people in Tampa. It's the biggest community of the 3 there.
Correct. And then you get the surrounding areas with Wesley Chapel and Zephyr Hills and
Lakeland
Brandon and Lakeland. And you'll even get people from Orlando to come in over there. It's an easier drive at that, because I-4 to Tampa, where they could build it by the Hard Rock Casino, is a quick drive.
Yes. Well, nothing's a quick drive down there now with all the people that moved there.
There's a lot more people. But Tampa needs a stadium outside of St. Petersburg. If you build it in St. Petersburg, it doesn't matter how nice it is. People still aren't going to go. And you're not going to build an outdoor stadium for the summer in the Tampa area. Well, it's 150 degrees.
And the other problem is everybody in Tampa is fans of other teams.
Correct.
Not the Rays. I mean, you and I were different. We were Rays fans.
Yeah.
But I love the Rays. But when the Cubs were there,
well, I was
a Cubs fan.
Yeah.
And that's what everybody is down there. They're Yankee fans. They're whatever fans, Red Sox fans. They go to see their home teams.
Right. Well, that's why the Lightning are so popular in Tampa.
Yes.
Because it's not everybody has a hockey team.
Correct.
And so people jumped on the Lightning, and it's really easy to get to because it's right off the interstate. And so it draws in a bunch of people from different areas. But everybody's got a baseball team. Everybody's got a football team. And so they're just going when their team shows up. But not everybody has a hockey team. And so everybody bought into the Lightning. And also, again,
still the best game in town down there, by the way.
It is. It's also really easy to get to their arena.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, parking's great around there. You go in, you watch the game, outstanding seating.
Yeah.
Absolutely everything that the Rays don't have.
Correct. And building a state-of-the-art stadium in St. Petersburg is not going to draw anybody.
It's going to be
what happened in Miami.
I was just going to say, it's going to be Miami 2.0.
Still, nobody goes to Miami games, and they spent so much money on that stadium that they didn't have enough money to rebuild Hard Rock, where the Dolphins play, which actually draws fans. Right. They should have taken that money and built the Dolphins a new stadium and then said goodbye to the Marlins.
Well, I think that's what Tampa needs. Unless they can get to Tampa, the Rays need to just relocate. And Florida is, as much as I hate to say this, Florida will not miss the Rays in another 3 to 5 years because there's other things to do there.
Right. Unless you move them to actual Tampa.
Yes.
If you move them to actual Tampa, it's like what was said in the Field of Dreams, they will come, Red.
Yes, because then it'll be the cool thing to do at night.
Right.
You'll go downtown Tampa.
Yep.
And everybody will want to go there. There's a ton of stuff to do down there.
Especially if you build it by the casino.
Oh, God, yeah.
And the fairgrounds by the casino, cut a deal with Hard Rock and build it across the street, you'll draw 3 to 4 million fans a year instantly.
Extra.
Even extra.
Yeah,
I'm just talking about, you look at 3 million fans a year being a good thing.
Sure.
They're going to draw 3 to 4 every single year simply by building a state-of-the-art stadium right there at the fairgrounds.
I don't think they're going to do that. I think that's been discussed, and I don't think it's happening. Sadly,
they're stupid.
It's where it should go. But even if they built it downtown, it could be part of the nightlife down there.
You don't build it by Ybor. There's no parking.
Not in Ybor. They were talking about building it out someplace by Emily. I don't know where.
If you could build it out there, great. If you could build it in South Tampa, people would come. If you built in North Tampa, people would come. There's a lot of places you can build this thing.
You're right. The best place is by the state fairgrounds.
Or the Yankees move to Ocala, Florida, which was talked about, and then you build a new stadium where the AAA spring...
which is right across from Raymond James.
Correct, where the spring field, spring training facility is for the Yankees. Build it there.
They've got the room now.
Cut a deal with the Steinbrenners and the Yankees to make that theirs, and it's done.
But I don't think that's going to happen. I think what's going to happen.
And then the White Sox are the other team.
Right. So what? Just odds on Tampa moving.
They're going to move someplace. It depends. It really does. If they can get a stadium in Tampa, they're going to draw. If their only option is to build in St. Petersburg, they got to leave. They don't have a choice.
I agree.
Otherwise, you're just the Marlins, and then baseball needs to contract and get rid of Miami and get rid of Tampa Bay, and Florida has no teams. Those are the only options there. The White Sox, on the other hand, this is an interesting one.
Yes,
I'm a diehard Cubs fan. Anybody that watches this knows I'm a diehard Cubs fan. You're a half Cubs fan because you still cheer for
Cubs
the Brewers.
fan.
You still cheer for the Brewers. So the question is, with that, I love the North-South rivalry. I really do. And White Sox fans, actual White Sox fans, are great fans. They're obnoxious.
Yeah, keep going.
They're great fans.
I'm not a White Sox fan at all.
I'm not either. I'm not a fan of where it is.
No.
I won't go to a game there.
Nobody will go to a game there.
It's the same thing St. Petersburg is running into with the Rays. It's not a good area. It's not a place you want to be.
No, it's right off the highway, but it's not a great area.
Correct. And parking down there isn't always the best. I don't know what the reports are on things that are stolen from cars now, but it used to be quite a bit. They need a new stadium.
It's been obsolete since the day it opened.
Yeah, just like Tropicana Field has.
Yes, exactly.
It's been through several different names.
Have you ever sat in the upper deck in that facility?
Comiskey?
Yes.
US Cellular Field or whatever it's called now?
Guaranteed Rate Field, I think it is now.
I don't know. It's been in 15 different things.
Yes.
I've never been to the stadium.
You get vertigo.
We sat outside the stadium, which was really cool.
I was there once, and I was in the upper deck, and I moved down because there was nobody there. But in the upper deck, you're looking down, and you swear to God, you're going to fall out of the damn thing.
True White Sox fans, though, you have to admit, true White Sox fans are great and loyal fans.
Southsiders are great White Sox fans.
They rival any fan base. It's a small fan base, but that true fan base rivals any fan base in the country. And so I'd hate to see them move.
They're gone.
It's like Oakland. Oakland actually has really good fans. You just have to put something good on the field. White Sox fans also have really good fans. You just have to put something on the field.
This is the least likely deal to be made because
where are you going to build it?
Well, here's a bigger problem. The Bears need their stadium first, and Chicago is first and foremost a Bears town.
They're getting the stadium.
They're going to, and that's like $2 to $3 billion for that stadium.
More like 3 to 5.
Okay, fine. It's going to be a dome stadium, which is wrong.
They've already agreed on it.
I know they have.
The Packers, okay, I want to make this clear. The Packers will be the last open-air stadium in the NFL. Buffalo.
I thought they were building.
Buffalo will probably be open-air because nobody's going to Super Bowl to Buffalo. It's not going to happen.
Right.
And the same way nobody's going to Green Bay for a Super Bowl.
And that's what, well, Green Bay's not big enough for a Super Bowl. But
Buffalo's not either.
But Chicago's going to get a Super Bowl out of this.
They are. That's the whole point.
Yes.
They're going to build. I think it does. We've talked about this, and we'll talk about it more in depth, I'm sure, another time. It takes away from the Bears' image.
It does.
In a big way.
Monsters of the Midway, all that snow and rain and playing in the slop, the fog bowl. Yeah. But it's going to be gone. But the City Fathers will take care of the Bears.
Yes.
And that leaves the White Sox out in left field. There's no hope for them.
No.
I think
you can't spend $3 to $5 billion on a stadium for the Bears and have money left over for the White Sox.
No. And I'm sure the facility would be a 30,000, 35,000 seat stadium, would look great in a neighborhood or along the lakefront. It's not happening. I think they're Nashville bound.
I agree. I don't think there's any hope of the White Sox staying.
And it's sad because they've been there since, 1900? There's been an American League team there?
In that, I don't know how long it's been, but it's early 1900s.
I mean, when an old Comiskey Park, Chicago was big enough for two baseball teams.
They took the Cubs' original name.
The White Stockings?
The Cubs were originally the White Stockings. Yeah. They were the White Stockings, and then the Colts, and then my favorite name, the Orphans, and then the Cubs.
However, and by the way, the White Sox do hold the distinction of having the worst owner in the history of all sports.
Right.
Charles Comiskey was a slimeball.
Yeah, bad human being.
But that be that as it may, I don't think there's any way the White Sox are going to get a deal done. And I think they're going to probably move to Nashville as the most likely
The Bears
spot.
getting a new stadium in Chicago was the end of the White Sox staying in Chicago.
Yes.
If the Bears would have moved to Arlington Heights and paid for their own stadium like it was being talked about, then I would say there's a chance. But the fact that the city of Chicago is building the stadium and is still going to own that stadium, that's the end of the White Sox in Chicago. So the question is, okay, so it sounds like you and I agree. Out of the three, Kansas City, Tampa Bay, and Chicago, Chicago is the most likely out of those three to leave their city in the next 10 years.
Followed closely by Tampa because their lease is up in 2027. And then
this has to be figured out by then.
Yeah. So I think they're going to be close behind. I think the White Sox are going to be planning to move within the
They're not playing in Tropicana. The Rays are not playing in Tropicana after 20.
No, they will not.
That's not happening.
I think the White Sox will be gone within 5 years. They're not going to get a deal done. Nashville's going to come in and make an offer. They're going to build a stadium, or Charlotte, wherever.
Okay, that was going to be my next question with this. Okay, we're talking the three teams likely to move. I think we can take Kansas City out of this.
They're going to
stay in Kansas City. They're probably just going to end up going to the Kansas side of Kansas City, which works out for them just fine.
Yes.
It's like 20 minutes away, not that big of a deal. Where are they going to go?
I think the White Sox go to Nashville. I think the Rays go to Charlotte.
Okay. Do you think Oakland ever has a possibility of getting another team?
No, never.
They just lost their last professional team.
They did. They will never have another professional team in Oakland again.
Do you think there's any chance of anywhere in that area, even Sacramento, getting a professional baseball team?
No. I don't. Just for the taxes in California.
Northern California is done.
No, they've got the Giants.
In San Francisco.
Yeah. Well, that's what they've got. So they're going to have San Francisco.
Right. San Francisco and Oakland are right across the street.
Yeah, they're right across the bay from each other. So you got the Giants, but that's it.
So there's no prayer.
None.
Oakland will ever get another team.
Never.
I agree. I don't see how you move into California.
Now with the taxes situation there, why would an owner knowingly move a team there?
I don't know.
It makes no sense.
So Oakland's out. So Nashville is definitely getting a baseball team.
I think so. They're a great AAA town. They have been for years.
Yeah, the Nashville Sound. They're the Cubs affiliate.
Yeah.
But that does mean the Nashville Sound will have to move.
Sure.
They will no longer be in Nashville.
Fine. Well, I mean, you've got teams around Chicago. I don't think there'll be a AAA team, but
they'll stay a AA team, but they probably go to Chattanooga or someplace like that. I think you're right. I think it's Nashville, and I think the White Sox are 100% Nashville bound. Do you think they changed their name?
Yes. Well, no. And this is
the Nashville White Sox?
This is the one team. This is the one team. I do not think Chicago gets to keep the White Sox name.
I was going to say, that's a change for you.
No,
because you stand on a podium and say the team gets the name.
No,
I don't want
the town gets
the name. Sorry.
I don't think in this case, only because there's another team there. They know they're not coming back. Cleveland wanted another team. Correct. And they wanted the Browns back.
Correct. Same with Indianapolis.
Yes, Chicago is not.
Baltimore. I mean.
Baltimore. Chicago is not going to want the White Sox back.
No. With the White Sox leave, they're not coming back.
So for
the White Sox are Chicago.
I understand
The White Sox have been Chicago since 1876.
Okay. The A's were in Philadelphia and then Kansas City and then Oakland, and now the A's is still there.
Right, but this is a name that has been with Chicago since 1876.
I don't care.
It was the original. They were an original baseball team, not this version.
So you would not want
that.
So you would not want that name to disappear from the face of the earth. So it's going to go to Nashville.
I don't want to see the Nashville White Sox.
I do.
It sounds dirty.
No,
I don't like it. They need to change the name.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
No, they don't.
It would have been like if the Tennessee Titans kept the Oilers.
Different scenario.
It's not.
Yes, it is, because the Oilers hadn't been around that long. The White Sox have it.
Think of Houston. What's the first name you think of?
Houston Oilers.
Right. And they're not even a team anymore.
I understand that.
If you think of Chicago.
I think of the Cubs.
And then?
The Bears.
And then?
the Bulls.
You said White Sox. It was the first
Then
name.
the Blackhawks.
But if the Nashville White Sox with that same black and white color scheme,
Yeah. Make it happen.
no,
You got to keep
No.
it white. I don't want to see the name White Sox disappear from baseball.
I'd rather see it disappear than go to Nashville.
I don't. That's where the team's going to be.
It is, but don't.
They're the best. They're some of the
I
best
don't want to see the
uniforms.
Charlotte White Sox. White Sox is Chicago.
No, you're
If
wrong
you
on this
move,
one.
You have to change the team.
No,
name.
you don't.
Yes, you do.
White Sox is too important to baseball. It's got to stay.
Thinking of the White Sox name outside of Chicago just makes me feel dirty.
Well, get over it and take
like
a
it.
shower because
I hate it.
I want to see the White Sox name live on. Now,
So you're saying the White Sox are moving to Nashville, which I agree,
I think
and then Tampa Bay to Charlotte.
that would be my guess.
What if Tampa Bay stays and they get a stadium done in Tampa Bay? Because that is also likely. There's a 50-50 chance they stay in Tampa.
I said 60-40, but yeah, they could stay there.
I really think it's a coin flip because if they don't get the deal done in Tampa, now if they get a deal done in St. Petersburg, they're going to stay.
Oh,
And they're going to stay in St. Pete, and they're still not going to draw. They're going to be the Marlins.
Yep.
And it's going to be a nightmare. If they get a stadium in Tampa, they are one of the most viewed teams in Major League Baseball.
they become a diamond team
Correct.
in baseball.
They do. That's a better way to put it.
I mean, they're going to be
They're going to be up there with the Cardinals.
they're a
with
destination.
The Cubs,
Yeah, they're a
with the
destination
Brewers.
team.
They are. If you can get a state-of-the-art stadium built especially by the casino over there, then
Dream come true.
I mean, you're going to draw a ton of fans from all over the place. You really think Charlotte is the next city? You think Charlotte over San Antonio, Austin area?
I could see either one. I mean, Charlotte's wanted a baseball team for a long, long time.
They have.
They're
They're not going to be able to expand that facility they have now in Charlotte.
No, they're going to have to build a new one. San Antonio, Austin, they already have the Rangers. They already have the Astros.
A long way away.
I know.
The
Texas
Rangers
is a huge.
are in Fort Worth.
I know. Texas
That's
is a huge
6-7 hours away. Houston is 5 hours away.
Depends on it depends a lot on the economic conditions in those two cities and whether they
Austin
can
is
come
the
together.
fastest growing city in the United States.
I know. But do you build it
Second
in
is
Austin?
Charlotte,
Do you
to
build
be
it
fair.
in Austin or do you build it in San Antonio?
You build it right in the middle.
I
They're
don't-
half an hour away from each other. You just build it right smack dab in the middle.
It's going to be an interesting competition. Or Salt Lake City.
There's the dark horse.
I mean, Tampa and Salt Lake City, I can see that happening.
I could too. I think that's the most likely. Salt Lake City is also a fast growing. It's going to be a bidding war between Salt Lake and Charlotte.
Yes.
I think.
And
I don't think San Antonio, Austin's really in the conversation.
No, and I said Charlotte for geography.
Yeah.
It'd still be in that southeast, but I honestly think Salt Lake City is going to make a huge play for the next team, and they may even make a play for the White Sox. They're going to make a play for whatever team comes up.
Salt Lake White Sox?
I don't care.
Utah White Sox?
Yes.
No.
Anyways,
I hope it stays in there. I really, really do.
speaking of baseball, though, we saw the single most exciting player in all of baseball on Sunday.
So we went to the Brewers-Reds game.
Mhm.
I got a nice surprise from my wife. You did too.
I did.
My wife decided that it's been too long since we've been to a baseball game and got us some really good seats. Still bad sight lines because it's American Family Field, but got us to see a player that I've always wanted to see play, which is De La Cruz, shortstop for the Red Sox or for the Reds, and he did not disappoint.
No, he counted for 3 runs on his own. He gets on base. It's an automatic double.
Yeah.
And
Steals second. Throw was missed. Barely dribbled into center field.
and he's scoring.
By the time the center fielder got it, he was halfway to home plate.
He's just electrified. Now, he did have, it was ruled a hit. Ball hit at the base of his glove. It dropped, let Milwaukee back in the game.
For a catch, yes. He jumped up for a catch. He jumped a little too high and just missed it, but that was almost an amazing play.
And the way that game ended.
And then switched to the other side of the plate.
He's a switch hitter.
Hit lefty for the first part of the game, then switched to the right side and hit a solo shot. He is electrifying.
But then the play that ended the game, a single to center fielder, Brewers center fielder, and I'm sorry, his name's escaping me right now, but he throws it to Willie Contreras. Contreras made a hell of a play.
If the Reds player scores, it's a tie game going into the bottom of the ninth. They throw him out at home plate, ends the game.
It's why I love baseball.
It reminded me, I was going to say, it reminded me how much I actually love the sport of baseball. Baseball is, to parody you here, to parrot you, whatever the word is, it is the greatest sport ever invented.
Most perfect game ever invented. It is. And what they've done, and this was the pitch clock, that game was finished in 2 hours and 40 minutes.
The pitch clock is the greatest rule instituted in any sport possibly ever. It is by far the greatest thing they've ever done since the live ball era.
Absolutely.
The game was done in 2.5 hours.
2:40 was the actual time of the game.
I couldn't believe that all of a sudden we're there for like an hour. It's in the 5th inning.
And if we would have been there 5 years ago, that game would have been in the 3rd inning.
We would have left after the 4th.
Yeah.
Because we would have been there for 2 hours. The pitch clock has revitalized baseball, but yet it continues to ruin itself from within.
Okay, you're going to do this one.
I'm going to do this one?
Knock yourself out because I'm going to get angry again.
Go for it. I like seeing you angry.
I'm hoping I'm going to pronounce his name right. Ronel Blanco pitched a no-hitter this year. Congratulations to Joe.
No-hitter in April.
Yeah, congratulations to Joe Espinada for letting him pitch it and get his no-hitter. He's going for another one this weekend. No-hitter through 7, and the son of a bitch pulls him out of the game in 7 and wouldn't let him go for a second no-hitter in the same season. Do you know if he would have done that, the list he would have joined? There's like 5 names on it. The great Johnny Vandermeer, the only man to ever pitch back-to-back no-hitters. Allie Reynolds, Virgil Trucks, Nolan Ryan, Roy Halladay, and Max Scherzer. That's the entire list of people who have ever gotten 2 no-hitters in 1 year. And that manager took that opportunity of all-time immortality away from Blanco. What the hell are you thinking, baseball? Jesus.
By the way, through 7, he only threw 94 pitches.
94 pitches. He would have finished the game probably at 110.
Yeah.
I would have left the game. Let these guys go for the greatness they can get. It's not going to hurt their arms.
And baseball wants the no-hitter gone. Because you notice when he threw that first no-hitter, nobody knew about it.
Nobody talked about it.
It was the second page of ESPN.
Normally it would be, we've had our first no-hitter at Lead Sports Center.
Correct. It was barely mentioned on Fox Sports or Yahoo Sports or any other sports network out there. Nobody talked about it. Nobody knew it existed.
It would be like telling a quarterback, you've played 3 quarters, your arm's getting tired, we're pulling you out.
Or you have 399 yards, you've never thrown for 400.
We're not taking a chance.
Or you have a record, you have 7 touchdowns right now, or 6 touchdowns right now. You have a chance to tie the record for all-time touchdowns in a single game. We're going to run the rest of the game.
Yeah.
And we're going to pull you out.
It drives me nuts. The pitchers are the stars. The pitcher versus the batter in a no-hitter is the greatest event in all of sports.
Right.
To see whether or not that pitcher for the 3rd time through can strike out that batter for the last time and get a no-hitter, not let anybody reach base, and you just arbitrarily pull it away from the guy, you're out of your freaking mind, and that's not the word I want to use.
Preach. I don't know what's happening in baseball.
They've got to fix it.
The star of your game is always the player that touches the ball the most, because that's why people stay in their seats, is to watch the player that touches the ball the most. The player that touches the ball the most is the pitcher.
Right. If he gives up a hit, walk out there.
Yeah, if he gives up a hit and there's no more no-hitter, go out and pull him. Who cares?
I miss the days when John Lackey, back in the early 2000s, he was a pitcher. Pitcher for the Angels. Looked at his manager, Mike Scioscia, great catcher in his own right, back with the Dodgers back in the
World
day.
Series.
World Series, he goes, "You're not taking me out. This is my game. This is mine."
Yep.
So she still took him out, but I respect the anger.
He fought him.
He fought him as hard as he could, as he should. You let these guys, sometimes you have to look at them and just go with your gut. Stop going by a computer. I caught myself.
You did. That was impressive.
We didn't go blue. You don't always have to live by what's on the tablet in front of you. Sometimes you got to go, yeah, go ahead. You're going to go until you give up a hit. But the second you give up a hit, you might as well start walking because I'm coming out.
You know how Craig Counsell pulled Ben Brown?
I'd rather not think about it.
In the 7th inning from a no-hitter? And they say it's because of injuries? A week later, they put him on the injured list anyway.
Yeah. So why not let him finish?
He got hurt anyway. So just let him pitch. What are you doing? I don't understand this. The most exciting thing in baseball when I was a kid was the no-hitter. When you were a kid, it was the no-hitter. It was the perfect game. It was must-watch television. If you heard somebody through the 7th, it was broadcast everywhere.
Yes.
Every news station, every sports station, everywhere there were alerts saying there is a no-hitter going. We are turning now.
Correct.
To this game because there is a no-hitter in progress. And as soon as somebody got a hit, you turn it off.
Right.
It's like, whatever.
But if he got the no-hitter, the world was excited.
Correct.
Because it was so rare.
Yep. Not as rare as a perfect game, but
it's not.
But that puts him in an even more interesting position because that puts him at 2. Do you know how many players have thrown 3 no-hitters in their career?
It can't be more than 2 or 3.
It's 3.
Okay.
Can you name them?
I'd guess Nolan Ryan.
Nolan Ryan, he's at 7.
Justin Verlander.
Wow, that is not the one I thought you were going to get. Justin Verlander has 3.
Okay. Randy Johnson.
Nope.
Okay. Not Greg Maddux.
Nope.
I'm missing. Older
player.
Older player. Tom Seaver?
Nope. Older than that.
Older than that. Not Johnny Vandermeer. He only had the 2.
Nope.
Give me an era. 60s, 70s?
60s.
60s. Warren Spahn? Whitey Ford?
Okay. I said 60s.
They were both 60s. Bob Gibson?
Nope.
Denny McLain?
You want me to give you a bigger hint?
I'm going to need one.
National League.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to give up and I'm going to hate myself.
California team
in the National League. Sandy Koufax.
Sandy Koufax. He had 4.
Which is amazing.
I thought we were going to play this game with Justin Verlander. I didn't expect Sandy Koufax to be the person.
Never even went back that far. I just was thinking 3 no-hitters. It's had to be more recent.
But Justin Verlander, the fact that he got his 3rd is amazing.
Yeah. He'll be the last one.
He'll be the last one. He'll be the fact that somebody got a no-hitter this year, the only no-hitter of the season, shouldn't be a surprise to me. And it does surprise me that nobody talked about him having a no-hitter. That should have been front page news. It used to be front page news. But the fact that it wasn't shows me that baseball itself is trying to get rid of the no-hitter in baseball. And I don't understand why.
I think it's just they're looking at the return on investment of their players, and that's a stupid.
Okay, the return on the investment on your players is the fact that they're bringing more views to your sport. That's the return of investment on your players. And in return, you give those players immortality.
Yes.
They're officially always a trivia question. They're officially always on a list of some of the greatest pitchers of all time.
He would have went down and been the answer to the last pitcher who pitched 2 no-hitters in one season.
Correct.
Would have been Ronel Blanco.
Correct. You took that away from him. How many rookies have had no-hitters going through 7 innings? And you're taking that away. Why do you want the single most special thing that could happen in your sport? Besides a perfect game, it is the most unique thing you can do. And you are taking that away.
And imagine coming down to the bottom of the 9th. I don't know if he was home team, so top of the 9th maybe. in a close game, he's going for a no-hitter, but the guy on the plate can still hit a home run. Those kind of things aren't going to happen anymore, and that's just wrong. My most hated stat in the world, it was a combined no-hitter. No, it freaking wasn't. That doesn't exist.
Those are stupid.
That's a stupid one. Can I move on? Because we're going a little long, but I want to talk about something else that angered me.
All right. Well, you let us know what you think about what either the teams being moved or the no-hitters. You let us know what you think in the comments below. And while you're down there, like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get to enjoy the show as much as we enjoy making it.
We didn't see this live because we were at the Brewers game, but we saw it. I saw the replay and sent it to you. Caitlin Clark took a shot to the head from Angel Reese.
And Angel Reese went off saying, the refs
victim.
got into it.
Yeah.
It was a basketball play. Darling, I don't know what you think a basketball play is. Just because you looked at the ball doesn't mean that you weren't swinging at her head.
It was. And we've talked about Caitlin Clark the last couple shows, talked about the fact she's not on the Olympic team.
Correct.
We decided to go out and get some outside help.
We did.
So next week, Adrienne Ross, who is a freelance writer and editor, she hosts her own podcast, and that's where I found her, talking about what we've talked about, that Christine Sides, the Fever coach, is not the coach for Caitlin Clark.
Correct.
She is not doing her any favors. As a matter of fact, she's holding her back and holding the entire WNBA back.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't know how to work with a superstar. She's going to come on the show next week and discuss the Caitlin Clark issue in depth, and we are very excited to have her on.
We are. So make sure you tune in next week because it is going to be an interesting conversation. And
somebody agrees with us.
It's very rare.
Yeah.
It's very, very rare. But it's going to be a really good conversation, so make sure you don't miss that. But as you all know, you cannot have a conversation with your father without your dad getting the last word. So it is all you.
So, as we said earlier, this was a great weekend. We went golfing, went to the game. Actually, it was all wrapped around the fact they had a citywide Catholic Mass at the Brewers game before the game started. So we went there, had a tailgate afterwards, went into the game, had decent seats. Couldn't see the right corner because it was in AmFam Field. But then we went and sat in our seats. And my two young grandsons had to listen to an idiot sitting 2 rows in front of us, somebody who should be an adult, screaming at the umpires, screaming at the players for not making the right play, screaming at balls and strike to a left-handed batter. Dude, you can't even see what the pitch did. It kept going on and on. He was getting louder and louder. It took till his daughter, and his daughter was like 6 or 7 years old. She finally looked at him and said, "Dad, you're embarrassing all of us. Please be quiet." Guys, when you go to a game, cheer your head up. When somebody hits a home run, stand up and cheer. If you get your pitcher's doing something great and having a no-hitter, cheer so the manager doesn't take him out. But don't go screaming at an umpire hundreds and hundreds of yards away. They can't hear you anyways. The only people you're upsetting is the people behind you and in front of you. Classic line from one of my favorite movies, Animal House, and this applied to this guy. Fat, dumb, and stupid is no way to go through life, son. Fat, drunk, and stupid. I screwed up the line. Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son.
Well, the funny thing is the exact line from his daughter. He yells at a player, "You suck." And his daughter screams as loud as she can and says, "No, Dad, you suck."
Yes.
And the whole section cheered.
Yeah.
It was a wonderful situation. And the dad looks at her upset. And it's like, no, dude, we were all feeling that. You're being extremely obnoxious.
There was just no point.
There's not.
I mean, it started early in the game.
We were back by the right field foul pole.
Yeah.
Like in section 206. We couldn't see balls and strikes if we wanted to.
No, especially with a left-handed batter, you have no idea.
No idea.
None.
It was absolutely ridiculous. Great last word. Thank you, as always, so much for watching. This has been Sports Talk with Dad. We'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody.